What's up, guys? It's Showtime's Fight Form. You already know what it is. It's your boy Showtime. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And I just gotta get right into it, all right? So UFC 276, which I said before, which is like pre-card of the year, things of that nature. It wasn't the card of the year, however, the card was very good. There was a lot of great fights. We're going to talk about the main event, obviously, but throughout the card, I loved the fights. I mean, there was a lot of entertaining ones. We saw some prospects live up to hype, seen some number one contenders, some potential number one contenders in the future. It was just a crazy, crazy, crazy card. First things first, I got to say, I am very disappointed still, and as always, in Uriah Hall. I said before how it's crazy that he's in an early prelim, but he showed why he's in an early prelim. He's just not the fighter that he was expected to be. He did fight a up-and-coming prospect, but yet still, man, like, we've known your weaknesses for years now, and it's still a weakness. And, I mean, you try to make it a fight, but at the end of the day, you fell short, so still a little disappointing. But as far as the prelims go, I mean, we saw Jessica I retire. I did call, and I know it wasn't in the actual video last week, but it got cut out. I did call Donald Cerrone losing, so I do want to take claim on that. I did say it, and if I need to post it, I will. So I'm taking that as a dub. I've already said this before, man. Like, Donald Cerrone was on his way out. He has been awful these past few years. I mean, there's no other word to say it. He's been terrible. And I knew Jim Miller, he's obviously a shell of his former self as well, but he's still beating good competition. So I was just like, yeah, this is a bad matchup for Donald Cerrone. And also it's a last minute fill-in, and you just cut weight 2 weeks ago. Yeah, there's no way I knew he was gonna lose. And he retired, which is good. He needs to retire. There's nothing left for him, and just go ahead and ride off in the sunset with your horses and get your redneck lifestyle. Have fun. But yeah, you know, legend in the sport. I don't know if I would put him in the Hall of Fame, honestly. He is an amazing fighter. He has a great resume. He does have some records, but I don't know. You know what? Maybe I will. You know, I will put Donald Cerrone in the Hall of Fame, but he's a fringe Hall of Famer just because he's never been champion, and he's always gotten dominated for those championship fights. And when he goes against somebody elite, he normally really folds. Like, he has a few elite wins, but we could talk about that in another week. But yeah, I think he's a fringe Hall of Famer. Also, they announced Khabib being in the Hall of Fame, which I think is weird just because he just retired like 2 years ago. Like, we have to have a gap with that. DC, completely understand it because DC literally is 40 plus years old. And we know he's serious about his retirement. He has a lot of stuff to do. It was obvious. But like I said, congrats on a great career. Jim Miller eventually is going to retire too. But he just signed an extension, so it might not be for the next couple of years. But congratulations on that one. But the one I really want to talk about with this prelim card is going to be Jalen Turner versus Brad Rhodes. I told you guys. I told you. Yes, Jalen was fighting some scrubs at 155, but man, look, eye test does matter. People want to sit here and discredit eye test. Eye tests matter. And when you can see a person turn the corner, you can literally see the differences in people's games. Same thing with Charles Oliveira. When you guys try to discredit him going into the Kevin Lee fight, or him going to the Tony Ferguson fight, or him going to the Michael Chandler fight, and you try to say, look at that, well, yeah, he won 9 straight, but he's fighting bums. Okay, cool. But look how he's fighting against those guys that are lesser competition. Jalen is the same exact way. I was looking at the guy fight, and I'm like, he's putting it together. He's looking like a complete prospect. And I called it by knockout. He submitted him. He lit him up on the feet a little bit, took a shot, got that neck. And I'm telling you, man, when you have that reach, we got them 75 plus inch reach advantage. I mean, not reach advantage, but reach, them long arms are 6'3". You can get chokes in super weird areas. Like, John Jones is a testament to that. When you have long arms, you can do better. You can do chokes a lot easier. And he tapped him out, got him out there in the first round, and we have a dog, bro. I can't wait to see what's next for him. 155 is just, what the heck? It's just so much. So much talent. And I was looking at these names because you got some of the old prospects. Then you got these new prospects like Gamrot. You got Turner. But then you still got the old dogs like Poirier, Chandler. And it's crazy to me to think the dog in this is Charles Oliveira. What in the heck, yo? It's crazy. Like, MMA is a ridiculous sport, and this is just a testament to that. To think that in such a tough division, one of the toughest divisions in all the sports, Charles Oliveira is the dominant dog. He's not just the dog in the division. He's dominating this division. He's finishing all these guys. I love MMA. If you haven't noticed, I love it. So yeah, amazing fight. Jalen Turner, I cannot see what's next. And at the end of the day, man, it's like what's next for him? Any fight that's in the top 10. Realistically, the guy is ready. And there's just so many dogs. So whoever's not booked up in the top 10, I can't think offhand. He needs to fight. Now, let's talk about this main card. Main card, there was a lot of fights so I'm not going to try to take too much time, but I still got to talk about it, obviously. Now, the first fight of the night, which was Sean O'Malley versus Pedro Munoz. We already saw how the fight went. It was a bummer. It was a terrible ending. Nobody wanted this to end up this way. Pedro Munoz won the first round. It wasn't much happening. It was a lot of leg kicks. Nothing really crazy happened. Second round, more of the same. However, Sean started to touch him a little bit more. Wasn't anything substantial, nothing that really mattered, but it still happened. And eventually it was an eye poke. Now, there's controversy with the eye poke. People think Pedro faked it, this, that, and the third. I'm never gonna sit here and say, unless it's like a Josh Koscheck missed knee, like I'm not gonna sit here and doubt your toughness. Especially a person like Pedro, who's way tougher than 99% of the people who's questioning it. One, he's never been finished, never been knocked out. Two, he's fought the who's who. He fought the who's who, the best in the division, and nobody has finished him. He fought Cody Garbrandt when he still had a decent name. It wasn't like it was wash Cody Garbrandt like it is now. And he knocked him out. He has fought Dominic Cruz. He's fought Frankie Edgar. Like, he's fought these dogs, man. What makes you think he's scared of Sean O'Malley? Like, realistically, like, Sean hasn't beat anybody that matters. If you want to keep it a stat, who is Sean? He just got ranked. He hasn't beat a ranked fighter yet. You think Pedro's scared of him? You think Pedro's looking for a way out when he's winning the fight? What sense does this make, guys? I had one of my friends try to argue, well, Nick just he quit. Well, what makes you think Pedro can't quit? Yeah, Nick was getting his ass tuned up badly. That fight was gonna get finished easily. That it was the tide turned, and Robbie was lighting Nick up, and he eventually was like, "Bro, I'm not about to win this fight." You think that's anything close to what Pedro was doing? No, that fight was very well still in Pedro's control. That second round was very close. It ain't like Sean was like automatically winning, so I don't really get that. And it's unfortunate because I wanted to see how this fight played out. We learned nothing about Sean O'Malley. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Zero. So it sucks, but it is what it is. You got to move on and keep pushing. I don't really care to see them fight again. It really wasn't that exciting of a fight. Maybe if they fought again, maybe it'll be exciting. But if you want to scrap it and rebook it, cool. But if you want to kind of go another route, I'm also cool with it. And like I said, it just didn't move me. It was a pretty dry of a fight. I mean, nobody was really that active and nobody was really that accurate. It was just more so a leg kicking fight. But like I said, it's unfortunate for both. It's not Sean O'Malley's, well, it's technically his fault, but it's eye pokes happen. It is what it is. But I'm just tired of all you lamos over here talking about this dude like faking injuries. I would never sit there and say that about a person like Pedro who's that much of a dog. So keep it pushing. The fight after that, which I'm not going to dive too much on, but I was wrong on this fight, unfortunately. And that was Brian the Barbarian versus Robbie Lawler. I did say, I always got to say where I'm right, where I'm wrong. I did say you cannot sleep on Brian because Brian is a very tough fighter. He can take punches. Robbie is the shell of his former self. I did say that all these things hold true, and that's why he lost. Robbie looked good. That's the thing about it. That's crazy. Robbie looked really good in this fight. He just got out toughed. Brian took all his punches, and he he volumed the hell out of Robbie. I think they said like he threw like 150 punches in a round. That is ridiculous. Even if there's little fluffy punches, because they were, but they got his attention, and it wears you out. It tires you out. And Brian had a great game plan, and he, at the end of the day, out-toughed him. He took all his punches, but Robbie couldn't take his, and got the finish. It was a fun fight. It's an irrelevant fight. It does nothing for neither one of them. It's not like it pushes anyone to a title, but at the end of the day, excuse me. But yeah, at the end of the day, it happens. So, good fight. Keep it pushing. I thought, one of the best fights of the night, but it wasn't relevant. The fight after that was a very relevant fight. Why? Because it was a number one contender fight. I was wrong. I was very wrong, and I'm pissed that I was wrong because I had no idea Sean Strickland was going to be an idiot. I should have, because of the way he acts, but I thought he was all fluff and no game. I thought he was just wrapping us up, talking about he was going to stand with him. No way, shape, or form did I think he was really going to be that stupid and stand with a freaking kickboxer who's a world champion, who's beaten Israel Adesanya twice. No way I thought he was going to be that dumb, but he was that dumb. And I did say if he does that, he'll get flatlined in 2 minutes. I think he got flatlined in 2.5 minutes, but it happened like I said it was going to happen if it did happen that way. He's an idiot. Why did you do that, Sean? But at the end of the day, you deserve what you got. You got slept. It is what it is. Let's keep it pushing with your career. Whatever. Now, Alex Pereira, that was a statement win. That's exactly what you needed. You knocked the number 4 guy out. That was as impressive as you can get. That was expected if this was going to be standing, and I'm glad you delivered like we thought. And I said that you ain't got that power, but you put a foot in my mouth. You clearly do. You slept them badly, and now we know what's next. And this is the fight that we really do want to see. Like it's a trilogy, but it's the first match in MMA, and this is going to be somebody who actually can match up with Izzy when the stand-up department, not just off skill, but also off size. Alex Pereira, I believe, has the same reach. I think he's an inch shorter. Or actually, I think I'm wrong. I think that actually they're the same height. I think the reach is on Izzy. But even still, it's still very close in size. Something that we really haven't seen too much of when it comes to Izzy in 185. So it's going to be a lot to deal with in this technically a rematch, but not really a rematch. But yeah, I was really, really excited. It's not too much to really dive into, man. Like, Sean was a sitting target. He stood there, flat-footed. What did you expect to happen? I'm sorry, it's idiotic. Now, the next fight was a fight that I called, but I didn't call it the way that I thought. I didn't know about. If anybody thought this was gonna happen, you're ridiculous. But I was right in the fact that I told you guys that Alex is gonna win a lot more convincing than he did the other fights. This time he was gonna leave without a shadow of a doubt, that he is the best 145er in the world. He did exactly that. He beat the hell out of Max. I ain't never seen Max get beat like that. He was a punching bag for 5 rounds. And there was like maybe one close round out of that whole 5 round fight. Every other round was pretty dominant. And the first thing I noticed when I saw this fight was, one, Alex is sitting down on the shots a lot more. He was trying to go for a finish. He was trying to hurt Max. He's starting to realize. I think he's starting to hear the chirping about his style, and I think he wants people to know that, hey, I can hurt people too. Don't sleep my smartness as I'm soft. I can't get these guys out the way. But fight IQ, he might be number 1 in MMA. Period. In all pound for pound, he might be the smartest fighter in MMA. His feet might be the best feet in MMA. He's always in the right position. He always makes sure his opponents are not in the right position. He was going into Max's power, which is weird. He didn't talk not to do that. He talked to go the opposite direction. He went towards it and still was piecing Max up, making this man look slow. Like, I don't know. Like, people can say Max might be washed, because I said it before. I told you, if anybody's getting better, and who's gotten better out of the last time they fought, who's gotten more substantially better, it's been Alex. And we saw that. Max is not, I said this, people want us to talk about the Cater fight. Yes, he did look great. But after looking at his last fight versus Yair, he's not getting better. I'm sorry, he's not. And if he is getting better slightly, it's not much. Alex is ascending, highly ascending. It's not even close to the guy he was the second time he fought him. And it's marvelous to see. And we have to start talking about him being pound for pound best fighter in the world. Like, he might not have the most fun style, but he's beating these dogs, and he's doing it dominantly. And he's beating a prime Max. And he's done it 3 times. I told you, I thought he won the first 2. He definitely won the 3rd. That's 3 fights in a row. And as far as the pound for pound, not pound for pound, the featherweight go, I'm still giving it to Jose. Jose was another beast, and people keep on sleeping on this man, acting like, yeah, well, he lost to Max and he lost to Volk. That was the still shell of his former self. That wasn't 25-year-old Jose. Like people gotta understand, just because some people's prime is in their 30s, that doesn't mean everybody's prime is in their 30s. Some people's prime is when they're 25. Jose peaked when he was in his 20s. When he was in his 30s, he was not the same Jose. Bald-headed Jose is not better than a hair Jose. I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. So I still have him as my number 1 GOAT, but Volk is number 2. Max is 3. It unfortunately has to go that way. I mean, if you want to put Connor, he has to be 4. But excellent fight. Max, I think Max honestly needs to take some time off, maybe a year or 2. Maybe he can honestly even retire. But if he likes fighting that much, keep it pushing. But you need to fight at 155. 45 is not for you. You're not going to get a title shot. I don't want to see this fight ever again, to be honest with you. 3 fights now, he's lost. What are we doing here? Move to 55. Try to fight Oliveira, whoever else is in that division. But still, fun fight. That was definitely, in my opinion, the best fight out of the 3. And yeah, that was good. Now, let's talk about the main event. First, let me talk about some positives. Israel Adesanya had the best entrance of all time in MMA. I don't care what nobody say, argue with your mother. Coming out as The Undertaker with Jarrett's name on there, all freaking time. I'm a former wrestling fan, so obviously I'm a little biased, but all-time performance right there. Unfortunately, when it comes to the actual fight, it happened the way that I said it was going to happen, which was if Jarrett doesn't come out hot, he's going to get picked apart for 5 rounds. He didn't necessarily get picked apart, but at the end of the day, he didn't hit Israel really at all. He got picked up a little bit. Like, it was not enough action for me to really care about the fight, to even be interested in the fight, to be honest. It was not a fun fight. It was pretty boring. But yet and still, like, you know, it's not easy being a champion, when being a dominant champion. Sometimes you're gonna have these stinkers. There's not a single world champion that's had 5+, 4+, title defenses that hasn't been in a boring fight. It's gonna happen. Now, unfortunately, Israel has had a few now where people are starting to make this his reputation. However, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to sit here and say, like, sometimes it's about the styles, and he still is an exciting fighter when pushed, but he will also like chill and just win. He'll just do what he needs to do to win, and yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So now, as far as my issues with Jarrett, I didn't like his game plan. I think people need to start trying to dive in more to the Kelvin Gastelum page of winning, because he's by far the closest person to beat Izzy at 185. He very well could have won. If he didn't, when he got that head kick, didn't go for a dumb takedown, he very well could be champion. However, he didn't do that. Now, some people could say Izzy, the way his game is now, he kind of eliminates a person to even do that. And also, Kelvin Gastelum is a very explosive athlete, and Jarrett isn't as explosive. However, he's still explosive enough to be able to do that. I think coming in with the game plan of possibly taking a shot of Izzy to land is a better option rather than staying on the outside trying to outstrike him. It's just not really, it's winnable, but it's not. It's about like a 2% chance of winning that way. If Alex Pereira could probably win this way, Rob Whittaker almost won that way. But if you're not those two guys, I don't really see, and Whittaker lost twice now. So even, I would say he can't even do it. But Alex Pereira probably can do that, but other people, no, you can't. You gotta make it ugly, man. You gotta get this man face. You gotta grind him. You gotta get into, push him against the cage. Go for these takedowns inside the middle of the cage. Like, it's just not smart. So yeah, I was a little disappointed how Jarrett fought. Like, you know, but I'm happy he got the title fight. Now, what's next? Izzy needs to fight Alex Pereira. Jarrett, I mean, you can fight Sean Strickland, but then you can, there's plenty of other people at 185. 185 is kind of a flux division, and it's not really too many dogs right now for a title. So eventually, he's going to end up having to go up and 205 if he beats Alex Pereira, unfortunately. Now, let's talk about Izzy's legacy real quick, because I know I'm running a little bit over, but I just want to talk about Izzy's legacy. Izzy is an all-time great. He's a future Hall of Famer. He will probably, like, some people will probably say he's past Anderson already. I personally won't. I don't think it's that close right now. One, title defenses is still Anderson Silva. We also have to remember Anderson Silva, like, I think they're close in finishes, but we also have to remember Anderson Silva was a champion after his second fight in the UFC. So all of his finishes were really in championship fights. This man was the most dominant champion we've ever seen. And people want to say Khabib, but I put him over Khabib because Khabib only has like 2 title defenses. Anderson had like 12. And he was finishing 90% of those guys. Like, it's not even close. People want to talk about level of competition. He did what he had to do against who he had to do it against. Stop discrediting. I hate when people want to discredit people because they didn't go against the people now. That's not his fault. He's still dominant. He still knocked these dudes out. And Israel doesn't have that yet. He's not as dominant. He has a lot of close fights. The fight with Barvin was close. The fight with Whittaker was close. This fight was close. Like, it's too many fights that are very, very competitive and close in match. Was like, well, I don't know who won that round. When Anderson Silva fought at 185, you knew who won because the guy was asleep with a bloody nose. And this is a fight after all. So we have to stop discrediting Anderson Silva's legacy. I think Izzy is on his way to possibly becoming the GOAT, but he's nowhere near there yet. But tell me, guys, what you think. As always, man, this is Showtime's Fight Forum. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry I went up a little bit over. It's a long episode, but there was just so much to discuss because this was a good card. So thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure y'all stay blessed, like, comment, and subscribe, y'all.